I think shed tour is winding down. But I thought before we go, we just tell you the story of how I ended up with Gracie and how I started doing all of this. I guess start from the beginning. I had a black lab. Our family had a black lab when I was growing up. His name was Trusty. I think he was an English lab. He was over 100 pounds. There's two different breeds of lab, English and American. Gracie's an American lab. They're smaller, more streamlined, like the field lab. The English, they're the ones with the big heads, blocky, more stockier. So anyway, that dog died. I think I was 14 years old, and we didn't get another dog. And but I always wanted another dog. I kind of always had felt like there was a part of my life missing without a dog in my life since Trusty died when I was a kid. So flash forward 2013, I had been doing National Guard stuff, kind of what they call a guard bum, doing going on orders from here and there, kind of working part-time with that stuff. I ended up taking this job in northern New Hampshire, in Pittsburgh. It was a cabin campground business, and the owner had no family. He wanted someone to come in, start managing the place, and take over the business so he could retire. So it sounded like a good idea, and so I had nothing else going on, so I tried that, and it didn't work out. It was a really bad deal. But while I was there, one of the employees was talking with her one day. She brought her dog to work, and I made a comment like, I'd like to have a dog. I haven't had a dog since I was a kid. And it wasn't a real, like, I wasn't looking for a dog. It was just kind of a general statement. And she said, oh, well, I know some people, and they just had a litter of puppies, and you might be interested in them. I said, well, if I was to get a dog, it'd be a real, I'd be looking for a real specific type of breed and all that stuff. And I didn't know what they were. And she said, oh, well, these are labs. I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, I'd want a black one, and I'd want a female because the black lab I had growing up was a male, and I'd like my personal first dog to be a female. She said, I think they have one left, and it's available, and it's a female, a black female. So that was kind of strange. So I decided I had nothing going on the rest of that day. That night I'd go and check them out. Why not? And it doesn't hurt just to look. You can just go and look at a litter of puppies and not get one. Everyone knows that. And so I went down. I met the people, Daphne and Barbara, in I think Clarksville, New Hampshire. It's like north of Colebrook, and super nice people. Awesome litter of dogs. The parents, the father, his name was Sonny, was a red lab, and the mother was a black lab. And they were both really good looking dogs, and the litter looked really good. It had black, red, and yellow labs. And so I saw Gracie. Her eyes weren't even open yet. I thought, hey, that'd be a great idea. I'm up here by myself. It's a good opportunity to get a dog. And they wanted $200. I think I just gave them $200 cash right there on the spot. That's very inexpensive for a lab, especially these days. And so shortly after that, maybe only a couple weeks, I left that business, and that whole thing went south real quick. So I called Daphne and I said, hey, I'm unemployed right now. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I haven't figured it out. I'm in no position to get a dog, that sort of thing. So, keep the money and keep the dog. It's just not gonna work out. And she said, well, it's still gonna be a while before they're old enough to be picked up anyway. So why don't you just let things develop? She said, if the money's an issue, we'll give you back the money, but you need to end up with this dog. And they were really adamant about that they said one way or the other, even if they had to keep the dog and raise her for a year before I could get her or anything like that, they just wanted me to end up with this dog. And they said it was really important to them. It wasn't about the money. They just wanted, like, what was rewarding for them in breeding their dogs and having litters was giving good dogs to good people that needed them. And so, I mean, how can you argue with that, right? So time went on, and it was, I still didn't have a job or anything like that lined up, a place to live or anything like that. So it was getting time to go and pick her up, and I arranged, honestly, my buddy Mike had just gotten married. He had a house, he had a career, and they had a kid, and their next thing, to complete what they had going on was to get a dog, and they'd have the whole American dream right there. And I thought, well, hey, that's a great thing. I'm in no position to keep this dog, so why don't I just set up to give it to you? That seemed logical to me at the time. So it was March 25th, 2013. I drove up to get Gracie and picked her up, and she just, I mean, she could look right into my eyes. She just sitting there the whole time, just crying a little bit, and I knew right then that look she was giving me, there's no way I was going to be able to give her away. I had to make it happen. So I ended up, told Mike, I got to keep this dog, man. This dog is kind of special to me right out of the gate. And shortly after that, I think it was only a week or two, I got hired by I ended up being a contractor working for the Army as a military science instructor. I taught Army ROTC at Norwich University, but I had to immediately go out to Fort Lewis, Washington for the remainder of that summer, and so Gracie went to my mom, and a couple months she was there, and my mom spoiled her and just ruined her, as you can see. And but she's gone everywhere with me since then. The whole time at Norwich, I tried not to leave her at home alone, or she never had a kennel or anything like that. I always just kept her in the truck. I'd park in the shade, I'd leave the windows down, I'd put the screen over the windshield and that sort of thing, and so that way I could go out at lunch or on my breaks and I could let her out and play with her and stuff like that. And she just went with me everywhere, and I kind of, like, people always associated me as the guy with the black dog, and that's a good thing, and she did a lot of stuff with me and the cadets at Norwich. We were there for 4 years, and it was just awesome to have her around. I think she definitely makes a positive impact on everybody, and certainly does with me. But it's just nice to have her around, and she's like my kid. I have nothing else, so she does go everywhere with me. I wouldn't have it any other way. And like I've said before, I wanted to have that I wanted to be a team. I wanted to have that team aspect of my relationship with her. And I didn't want to be that guy that just has a dog, comes home from work, puts it on a 3-foot leash and walks it down the sidewalk, and carries a little bag of poop and stuff like that. That just, and the dog's 30 pounds overweight. That wasn't me. I didn't want to do that. I wanted the dog I wanted her to have a good life, an exciting life, full of adventure and stuff. And I wasn't sure how to do that or what you can do with a dog. I just knew I wanted to have a task and a purpose so that we could train together and we could work together doing something. And right when I had got her, I had met Nick Campagna. We were in the National Guard together, same unit, and he had a dog, Ruger. It was 1 year old at the time. He was 1 year older than Gracie, and he had just started training him, or had been training him since he had got him to shed hunt. So I learned about it from him, that you could do it, and then I started training and working with Gracie, and Nick and I and Ruger and Gracie, we shed hunted together. Actually, the first time I ever shed hunted was with him and Ruger, and that was an awesome day. I found, I think it was like a 12-pound brown, and then Nick found the match. And then we found a bunch of other browns and a deadhead. It was just an awesome day, really. And so we shed hunted together for a while and stuff, but we haven't for a long time. But yeah, shed hunting was just, it fulfilled that desire for us, you know, to work as a team and to go on these adventures and to do what we're doing. And it's a perfect thing. We love doing it. It's such an awesome time of year. I've been trying to display that, show you that, you know, why I'm so passionate about it, why I love doing it, why I have put so much energy and effort into making this a way to make a living. I really do believe I have a special dog. I think she is talented. I think any dog, if you know, dogs are easy to train. It's the people that are not easy to train. And you just put the time in with a dog, and they can do amazing things. It's you know, finding sheds is an easy thing. You know, there's dogs that can detect cancer, detect when you have, like her father, Sonny, without training was able to detect when Daphne had low blood sugar. She had diabetes and she didn't even know about it. And you know, just all the amazing things they can do. It's a lot of fun. There's it's just a really rewarding relationship to have a dog that can serve you, that can be a benefit to you. So that's kind of how we got going doing this, and why we do it. And it's been a blessing. It's just funny how she ended up in my life. It wasn't, you know, like I told you, I was not looking for a dog. She was really thrust upon me, and it's been 8 awesome years so far. I'm looking forward to all the rest of them. We're gonna go find some more sheds now, I think. Yeah, Gracie, good girl. We just kept walking up the same row and we got a big brown. I don't know if that's the match. That's the right side. Is that our match, Gracie? Good girl. Yes. Yes.